658. People versus Letecia Stauch. Record should reflect the jury is not present in the courtroom. How are we with the review of notes?
Mr. Tellini and I had an opportunity to go through them very quickly.
Okay.
Obviously, I would need more time to go through them thoroughly. The remedy that I suggest on behalf of the people is that she's not allowed to have notes during the remainder of my cross and during Mr. Tellini's redirect. We'll keep the notes over on the table. Someone can make copies for the court file and the appellate record later. I don't want to keep the jury waiting any longer. I want to keep going.
Okay.
And I think that's a reasonable remedy under the circumstances.
Mr. Tellini? Okay. All right. So, Dr. Lewis, you can have your reports. I don't know that she has her reports. Okay.
I have copies of reports and I can.
Okay. Mr. Tellini is going to provide you with copies of your reports, but you cannot have copies of your notes or use them during your the remainder of your testimony here. So we'll leave it at that. And prosecution
Helicopters, police scanners, everything.
This may or may not have something to do with rebuttal. I'm going to impose the burden on the prosecution to take those. You can just release those in discovery to Mr. Tellini and also upload them. Let us know when you're going to do that, and we will need to do that as a sealed file.
And to take those and have one of our people start copying it now.
Yeah, that would be fine.
He's got a lot more pull than I do, Judge.
Okay. And I also want to, I know I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but please, everybody, be patient with me. I know that this matter is being broadcast simultaneously with what's going on in the courtroom, and I know that I have a lot of people in the courtroom. Regardless of how you view this case, remember what it is about. There is a child who lost his life and a woman who may be facing a life sentence. Okay? So remember what this case is about and remember the decorum. My order is that there are no cell phones to be used in the courtroom unless you are with the press. And we know who those people are because they're sitting in the front row. Remember what this case is about. None of these people in here are actors. They are all associated with this case in some fashion. It's not television. If your phone is, if something's going on with your phone and it's really important, I get that. Go in the hallway. You will not be allowed to have your phone out unless you are press. If you have your phone out and someone sees you with it, you will be asked to leave. You will not be permitted back into the courtroom. Also, please understand, and I know that sometimes people say that I can be really direct, but I try to be that way so that there's not a lot of confusion. This is not a guideline. This is not a suggestion. This is the process that we're going to follow in the courtroom, and it applies to everyone. So unless you're press or you're associated with that team or this team, put your phones away. Don't get them out. So I understand we're ready for the jury.
Yes, we are, Your Honor.
Yeah,
Okay.
just real quickly, Judge, gave that entire pile of documents to our investigator, Cecil Weir. He's making 3 copies. One
Perfect.
that will get to us. We'll get one to the court, and then it'll be released in discovery to the defense.
Okay. All right.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Ma'am?
Copy. It's essential that they be copied in color, because to be interpreted, the colors must be copied. It's inaccurate. Black and white.
I'm leaving it up to the prosecution for that, and it may be an issue on another day, but it's not one that we're taking up today, and it's not one that we're taking up now. Let's bring the jury back in. See if we got any response on getting another security guy up here to stand right there looking back. Okay. All rise for the jury, please. Thank you. May all be seated. Court will recall 20 CR 1358, People versus Letecia Stauch. Record should reflect the jury has returned to the courtroom. Mr. Young?
Thank you, Your Honor. Dr. Lewis, we just took a break and Mr. Tallini and I just went through all your notes that you had here in the courtroom. Is that right? Having gone through those notes, we see no documents that you were using during the course of this interview with Ms. Stout, correct?
Not yet. You know, because I don't know what there is there in terms of that interview. If you have the whole thing, you will see those documents in the.
Let me just ask you a simple question. Do you have those documents that you used in the interview with Ms. Stout? Yes or no?
I gave them to you, yeah. They
Okay.
are there, but they haven't.
You know, at this time, I'm going to ask that the court take judicial notice that Mr. Tallini and I went through those stacks of notes, and none of the notes that she's referring to are in the stack of notes that she has in the court.
Mr. Tallini? It's not a judicial notice thing. It sounds like it's a stipulation.
There is the complex figure drawing that has not been referenced, that were notes that was documented that was turned over to this attorney, and that was in there, and I think that's a little bit of it is having. As far as the signatures or the alleged.
Okay. All right.
I would accept that stipulation and appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, Dr. Lewis. You know the importance of turning over notes that you use in a forensic interview, especially in a homicide case. What did you do with those notes that we just talked about, where you had Ms. Stauch sign something?
Whatever he signed there, what I had was turned over to Tallini, to be copied and shared with you.
May I approach the witness?
Oh, yes, you may go ahead.
I'm going to hand you what's been marked as People's Exhibit 735. Have you take a moment to look at that document?
This is not. This is a different patient with. But you have a question about it.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you some questions about it, sure.
Because
You recognize that People's Exhibit 735?
I recognize that it was a communication of mine to this,
An email between you and Mr. Tallini, correct?
to the best of my knowledge.
And does that document accurately reflect that email that you have with regards to the EEG that we talked about yesterday and whether or not you had knowledge that you were withdrawing your request to have an EEG done?
To my mind, it was not simply dropping it, it was saying, this is not right.
Dr. Lewis, just answer my question.
I-
Does the document accurately depict the email exchange between you and Mr. Tallini with regards to your knowledge of whether an EEG was withdrawn? Yes or no?
Whether it was, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the.
Withdrawn, your request for an EEG.
It was not a permanently withdrawn thing, it was saying right now.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask you to direct her to answer my
Dr. Lewis,
question.
the question is simple. Is this an email that you sent to Mr. Tallini? Yes or no?
Yes, it is
Okay.
sent to him.
All right. Mr. Young?
We move to admit People's Exhibit 735.
No objection.
Exhibit 735 will be admitted. Go ahead.
And did you say in that email, go ahead and withdraw the EEG? We'll address it at a later time.
I said, you may now, if we could address it later, this did not mean it's not important, it was just organizing in my head is most important. Like, that became less important than something else.
The email speaks for itself, doesn't it? You're dictating in the email why you didn't think it was important at that time.
Well, I was saying that there are other things have arisen that we should also address.
So why did you yesterday blame the attorneys that you didn't know anything about the EEG being withdrawn?
I did not consider this withdrawing it permanently, but simply, I did not wish to fight with the court over, are you getting this, are you not? The court refused to get it, and I was saying it can be addressed again. But I did not think of it as a withdrawal.
Listen to my question carefully.
Yes.
Why did you yesterday tell this jury that you never requested to withdraw the EEG, that the attorneys did it, never told you anything about it?
Because I did not request to withdraw it. I said, you could kind of wait and do it, and I did not think that they had it.
Can I retrieve the document from you, please? This is what you said in your email, and you can explain what it means after I read it, okay? I have been reading more on Letecia, and I think we should drop the EEG request. What does that mean to you?
Rest of it, know the timing of it, and know what I was thinking about at that time that was most important. But this was not something that I was supposed to, I can't possibly assist you if you don't have this. I think it's, I think we should have it, but we can wait. Get it later. In fact, it may be, I could be mistaken, but I believe that, Mr. Delaney had said to me, there will be appeals on this.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask that that be,
Your Honor.
Dr. Lewis?
We could get
I'd
this
like
later.
Dr. Lewis,
Hold on.
please
Wait,
stop.
wait. One at a time. One at a time. Dr. Lewis, please confine your answer to the question being asked. Mr. Tellini will have an opportunity to ask you questions on redirect. And if there's anything that he thinks you need to bring up, he can bring it up then. But just confine your answer to the question being asked. And Mr. Young?
Your Honor, I would ask that what she just said be stricken, that the jury be instructed to disregard it.
Mr. Tellini? All right. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you're instructed to disregard Dr. Lewis's response to Mr. Young's most recent question. Mr. Young?
We're going to play the next video, okay? Would you like me to turn you around towards the TV? Okay. And so for the record, we're going to play People's Exhibit 732. We're going to start at 1 hour and 7 minutes and 8 seconds and end it at 1 hour and 40 minutes and 8 seconds. So this is roughly 33 minutes. And so we're going to play it continuously through, Dr. Lewis. So if you wouldn't mind, I'll ask you some questions when it's over, okay?
Date of it again, please.
It's November 16th in the afternoon, 2022.
Apparently, we got the screen.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
My initials there. And who said that? She said that she didn't know who you were. Who was it? Okay. Because you know, I didn't write out. You did not write it. Because said, buying them together, but I can let her know. Again, it was just for tea there, baby TA, it's also a Thailand, right? And here is the subject, right? This, with a lefty. Letecia. Who is it? Letecia. That is Letecia. And so, Taylor, that's why you said, when you. What was Letecia? This, she's a lefty. Okay, you said you need to talk to her, Letecia, that's all. Yeah, but, Letecia wrote that? Yeah. Okay, and Letecia, I just want to say the left hand, because, you Taylor are. Just give me a number. And he said, Taylor, okay, I am, two. Oh, I don't need to play favorites. You're important. Important. And each of you seeing to the vision. Yes. So, yes, it's not. Maria said she will come in on her terms, but don't think that she answers anyone. And who said that? Was that, that's something. So Maria said she'll come on her terms, but don't think that she answers to anyone. Letecia and only talk to her.
Not me.
Not Taylor. Yeah, but I can talk to.
Yeah.
So here. So,
Yeah, but that's what I can't tell what to do. But she can because I don't curse and do bad things. You see what I'm saying? I don't curse and do bad things. I don't live through that one. Yeah, so that's why. You see
But
what
I need to talk with Maria. Because I think that Maria knows a lot more what happens when the two say.
right? See, so like, because I'm a good person. Sometimes I kind of like get in arguments. And I mean, she gets mad. Because I'm like the good, not the bad. But he's just the bad. You see what I'm saying? They get along with my better. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm talking to Maria. So it's-
yeah, because I do a lot more good. You see what I'm saying?
You do a lot more.
Yeah, she don't always agree with good.
Or what you think is.
Right, okay. Well, my, I just need to get good. Let's, you know, do good to people, do right by me. You know? You think
Sometimes I feel bad.
no, I'm saying, I think some things are good, you know what I mean? And so she,
You think something's good, that maybe they don't.
right, and so that's why sometimes she doesn't like talking to me.
Well, yeah, so seems to me that sometimes you think it's good. To be the strong leader, fighting for things under your control, and then they don't see it's right.
I try to like be the mediator or try to be calm. Everybody else get along, communicate. Do good to people.
What happens when you lose? What happens when you temper it's the best? What happens to you then?
Take over. And then, takes away from like the good part of Taylor, you know, the good part of Taylor is being like a good communicator, effective, you know, like not a bad temper. I can communicate effectively with them.
Do they know what's you?
Like if they come to visit me and I'm as myself as Taylor, then I can sit down and talk to them and be like, able to like be nice and be like, oh, okay, how you guys
They
doing?
don't even know it's you.
Oh, if they come and they see I'm not like whatever, I'm not Taylor. Because then I'm just like, take me along. But then I'm not trying to be mean, but then I can't take it if they're like that.
I'm not sure how much you can carry her. How straight are you with me?
Hmm?
How honest are you?
I'm honest with you.
And if you want to ask them, right? Well, you can change your mind. Maybe. What happens?
Taylor,
No, spoke to Maria Taylor, someone signed Taylor, and Maria thought, it's not there. I didn't Maria sometimes Taylor, Letecia explaining for stuff. You kind of go. Where? And it's with you.
Taylor,
Where you mix Taylor again.
so what happened was, did you want to tell you what happened? Or-
Sure.
Okay, so, the night of January 27th, 2020, I had, reported Gannon missing because he was.
You had none, let me see.
I had,
So it was January 7, 2000. So you reported that he was missing.
because I was calm at first, because I didn't think anything was wrong. I thought that he was just playing like a hiding challenge and that he would be okay. And I thought that he would eventually come out of his hiding spot and he would eventually, everything would be fine. He wanted to have a bunch of followers on YouTube. So I thought that the whole practice circuit, so I wasn't in a panic mode. I wasn't in any kind of like anxiety or
Oh, so
like yet. Not yet.
it was not there. Something had already happened to.
No, nothing had happened to him.
Oh, you saw that
After what?
after you were there.
Right, he was missing.
He was,
He was already, yeah, he was missing, but nothing had happened to him. He was missing.
he was. Why was he missing?
Guess he was the house or he was hiding.
Yeah, not sure. That's why I need to go to the room. I think all of you, right now, talk to everyone. Talk to everybody. I think all of you have been covering for each other. And, you know, I think that you all want to. You're going to be right on the TCN. Actually, you're really preventing them from getting help. Not always. But I think you're afraid of telling what happened to Anne.
Trying to tell you. Do you want me to keep going? Do you want me to keep going? Or?
What much told you? Really? Really?
Yes.
So as we were, just keep going, like, I'm just gonna keep going. So, he was missing and then I called everyone. And they started to panic. After a couple of minutes, that's when I started to get worried. Cause I realized that it started to rain, get cold outside.
And then after, when was the first one, he was born. When he was dead. And I do something.
I did try to bring him back and started praying over him and trying to bring him back to life.
And when
He didn't come back to life.
he didn't, where was he lying?
Well, in my
In your arms. Where had you found him?
I don't remember where I found him. Just found it.
So do you know he was in your arms?
If you don't understand why it was like that, it's like that because he wasn't supposed to die.
He was not supposed to.
No.
I didn't. No. What was supposed to? Was not supposed to die now. So someone had made one person that she something else. No. What was? What was the idea? What?
Was not supposed to be him.
It wasn't supposed to be. Who? It wasn't supposed to be. Was it supposed to be?
And then our, it was.
Usually. No, what did you think it was?
I'm not a monster. Okay. I'm not a monster.
Somebody, any.
I scan in and I heard people thinking that I'm just a mass murderer that just killed someone. I didn't know them scanning.
Okay.
Under no circumstances did I hit me. You can just scan it.
Were you doing something? It's not a word. Did you do something with what was motive? Did it? It was something. Did it look like something? Oh. You know,
You don't know what it's like in my life. I have to see when I realized that it was scanning. I never knew it was him.
what did you?
Someone was in the home. You don't understand. Someone was in the home. Okay. Yes, they're in the home. Yeah. Someone big. Okay. They're going to hurt everyone. They're going to hurt everyone. Everyone that was in the home, someone was going to hurt someone.
Everyone was going to hurt someone.
There was someone in the home. They were going to hurt everyone that was in the home. What I did was grab the gun.
What did you do?
All I did was grab the gun and fire the gun because it like someone was in the cave, okay? So all I did,
All you do is grab the gun. And what happened?
I saw someone who looked like they were in the cave and I fired the gun. That's what I did, okay?
All you did is
You
grab.
don't understand, I had to protect the people that were in the house, okay? Because if someone was in the home, they were gonna rape someone, they were gonna molest them, they were gonna kill them, I had to protect them. All I did, okay? And I fired the gun. I did not know, didn't have a safety, I didn't know any of that, but that's what I do, I'm trained to do that, okay? I'm trained to kill, okay? I'm trained to kill, that's what I do, but trained to kill, I'm trained to kill, that's what I do. Trained to kill, okay? That's what I do, I kill for a living, okay? Anyone that tries to hurt me, I'm trained to kill, okay?
That hurts anyone or
That hurts the people that I care about, okay?
so you kill. I mean, you kill.
Yes,
Yeah, that hurts. You do it fair.
yes, and that's what I did. I took the gun, I fired the gun at someone. They had a cape on, they looked like a dangerous man.
You fired and someone
Yes, a dangerous man. Man, yeah.
you
I am a dangerous man, okay? That's what I do. This is how I go.
this is how you old.
Yes.
She fired the gun. And then
That's what I did. killed the man, okay? Yeah. Boom. They come to the home, that's what I do. I will protect the people that I love. I always do that, okay? I don't understand their problem.
When did you realize it was not the person?
I don't realize anything. I left immediately. I left immediately after I did my job.
You, like this, you're sick.
I left immediately after I did my job.
So what did you think you'd done?
Did what I was supposed to do.
Which is,
I killed the threat.
I know a threat.
The threat was there for the TC other family and for the service.
Made it so short.
Because the TC my family, they were missing and I had to protect them.
Who was this?
The TC family.
Really? Who was it?
The TC son was missing. To protect them, that's what I do. She was upset, everyone was upset. Little baby girl was upset, everyone was crying. That's what I do.
And
Then
you left your body. What happened?
I left.
No. Oh,
I don't know what happened after I left.
who did this?
If I deserve it to the police,
What?
if I deserve it to the police.
No, I went to the police. No. I'm just need to go out.
What do you want to try?
What?
What do you want me to try?
Just your. Need money. Maybe.
Maria.
Maria. Maria. You know what I think? Maria, I think you're when we sit with your normality. You want to become us invisible.
No. No. I have jobs to do, I do jobs that are.
You do things. Only what?
What does he see?
Meditation control.
I always have,
But
I always have perfect.
for which, trouble,
Who do you turn this information
us, the gypsy people.
to? I don't answer to that.
No, you don't answer. I'm just trying to, I want something. I think you can tell, I don't think you would have. Haven't talked, no, I know too. I'm working my ass off to help with this. It's a very tough, yeah. Because if you're kind of strong, arm that. So. Right. This is very much. I don't know, okay, I would say that, not for you. Even my cabinets, when I got to, I was.
I don't cancel them.
I really,
I don't cancel them.
you don't do that, or you don't like them?
I don't cancel.
You don't can't this. Why don't you?
Just don't.
You just don't. The favor. I think times a day.
Ever strong and
You see that. I think we all have a fantasy that it's from me. And nobody would help me defend about.
do you need anything else from me?
You need anything,
Do you need anything else from me?
anything,
Do you need anything else from me?
no. Absolutely. You helped. And you got rid of what looked to you like something as menacing as easier. You shot from the and the person where it was went down and if they left.
The job done, correct, job done.
Well, the job wasn't really done, because as I understand it, I haven't seen.
And then I think about it.
How do you do something not, never that, no,
I do it every time,
but in general,
multiple times.
like.
To go.
you-
What did you do?
So. Well, you had to bring it in, so, and. I certainly not. I don't have any contacts in my stuff. So you don't just work for the DC,
Okay. Then I had to protect her before in Mexico.
you did,
I had to protect her before Mexico.
you did,
I did.
you protected for us. Wow, how old was she? When you first,
My days is different than yours.
you were,
My years are different than yours.
how old were you?
28.
You're healthy,
28.
28. So, she was without you. So 11 years old.
I'm always 28. I always look this way.
Yeah, she's 39. So for 11
My years are really different than yours. You cannot even comprehend my years. They're different. Don't even try.
I imagine they're mysticals. Yeah. Yeah.
They're different.
So, did you protect her from the time you arrived for what was happening to her when you protected her?
Who's going to see this information?
Please,
I don't see anyone else.
what?
I don't see anyone else.
I did not without her permission. Her permission means. If, and we'll talk about, would you, are you guys game to talk about stuff and how you want to use the information that Maria is? Sure. Yeah. Okay. So they will do that. And, I think, I know these people don't agree. I think none of us here would ever do anything like, if we use this, these would only be in Letecia's favor to get Letecia's help and some. So, maybe some educated into, but probably only use them. Where are you good?
No, absolutely.
Yes. Take a look over there. Got a group there.
And I see what I want.
You always see the ladder like? Yes. Me too. Yes. You. Seriously, I don't, it never told me. So. You know, just one of the things. You've been very great yourself, Maria. Do you surprise yourself? Putting the spray?
No, I'm very.
You are. This is what I do. Well, you do it. I know you're very great to trust us. But we will only slowly talk about. And if it does not help, Letecia, I'm
Just stays here.
I think, my goodness, we worked pretty hard today. Do you think we should take a rest for maybe an hour or something? And let's come back into it. And let's look. Is it her? Sure. So let's see. Between 2 or 3. I do need the promise.
It only promises that you guys I have no request.
I would like you not to hurt me and to remain safe and strong, but not hurt anyone. If you think this real we're talent, you'll only have me to tell today and tomorrow. But you have, do you remember you can talk to those people? Well, maybe later on, maybe you would come forward a little bit and let me meet you.
Yeah.
And she doesn't just talk to him. I noticed only when I went with her, right when I talked with her, that she got a feeling. I hope it's really, was I maybe asked and that, I don't know. But I would come back, and I would be myself. Yeah. Okay, why don't we take a Maria, I have something that I'm very much to do to the lost in a room. I don't. Where is that? Yes,
Okay, the camera or the video stops at 1:40 and 08 seconds. Who was that other person that was leaving the room there, Dr. Lewis? Well, Mr. Cellini went out the door and then some gentleman with a mask on followed him out. Who was that person?
I don't recall, and
Can we just play that portion back? We're going to play the portion back. You can just look at this TV right here. Okay, we're not talking about him, Dr. Lewis. Please keep watching. Freeze it. Who's that person right there?
I don't recognize him.
That's not your son? You don't recognize your own son?
Because he was running the camera, but I don't recognize.
Well, running the camera, Dr. Lewis, he's going out the door when the camera shuts off. What is your son doing in the interview room?
Particular interview, we had asked, when we had her, and, I'd asked her. Could have been. No, I didn't.
Is that recognized within the field of psychiatry to do forensic interviews with people who are charged with first degree murder and bring your son along?
Stand it. Here. Cameras be on us and that there be company. I had said I'd like to have them on. I think it was Josh who told me have to be.
Well, this investigator seated in the back courtroom was in there, right? Mr. Cellini was in there. Why was your son in there?
One was asked to run, if he knew how, and could he run the cameras?
Why did you stop the interview?
Entire. Seemed to try. Probably. Not at all.
Well,
You don't go on endlessly.
you spent a day and a half, hours of talking to her, trying to get Maria to come out. According to you, I'm assuming you're saying this is Maria who comes out that we see?
Here, I'm asking myself, who is this? If you look at the character they're talking, there are times that apparently she goes by Maria. Her expressions change, she looks different, she sounds different, she does different things, she protects. That I think that there was a back and forth over how she perceived herself, what's going on in her head. But I think that there were times when we saw I don't think it was always Maria. I think that there were changes there as I watched as a clinician. There was not a consistent.
Okay, and so you're saying that Letecia could have came back and faked the Spanish accent while she was faking to be Maria? Is that what you're saying?
That is not, I you did.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying, I don't think it's faked. I think that she switches back and forth and her identity and who she is good.
What'd you talk about after the camera was turned off, doctor?
I beg your pardon?
What did you talk about with Maria after the camera turned off?
I have no recollection of talking with her after the camera was turned off. No idea. I don't know for sure on the papers, but I can tell you sometimes if things seem that there's down or that patient would be improved, sometimes I will write back and forth. Those were preserved, but I don't know who she was at different.
You didn't preserve those documents. We've already gone through. You did not preserve those documents that you see her writing on, did you?
I do not know. I'd have to look, but I don't have a recollection of having preserved them. They were kind of a communication device there, and I may, they may be there. It might be, and they may have been handed over. I don't have perfect memory of what happened to those papers.
Other serial killers that you've interviewed that you've diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder, for instance, the ones that are on your HBO documentary, when you ask them to change personalities, they do. Some of them do the same neck roll thing.
What?
Do you remember that? And when they change personalities, they confess and they tell you how they did the killing, correct?
Some. When there is a real definitive kind of different. This is a fluid kind of, as I told you, not on again, off again, perfect logical.
But what Maria says to you is a mistaken identity. I didn't know it was Gannon. I shot the gun one time, correct?
Gee, someone says this, at another time, someone there with this very odd demeanor says, I'm there to protect them. I protect them. There is a fluid kind of.
Did she, doctor, just listen to my question carefully and just answer yes or no if you could, okay? Did she tell you that she mistaken identity, didn't know it was Gannon, fired a gun one time, did what she had to do? Or words to that effect?
Early on,
In this portion we just saw.
at the beginning, I believe at the beginning of the, then she's talking about other things, so that about defending
And you know that's not how Gannon died. He didn't die from one gunshot wound, did he?
No.
Why didn't you confront her on that?
it does not make logical sense. And not how you conduct psychiatric interviews. In fact, it's amateurish to say, oh, but you said this at that point, how come you're saying it now? This is amateurish work, if anyone does that. Not to then follow what is going on, and you saw in front of your eyes without asking anything, or her. Expression change, you saw what this person said, change. I take care of them. I hurt the people who are out to hurt them. And I have down here, as I'm looking at that, say, this is this,
And Dr. Lewis, I just want you to respond to my questions, please.
I am
Okay?
trying to do that. And I'm
Can,
saying.
can you listen to my next question, please? Robert De Niro did a pretty good job at that in the movie Cape Fear as well, didn't he?
No,
He didn't.
No.
Okay.
no, Robert De Niro.
Actors do a good job of acting, don't they?
No, Robert De Niro was not an outstanding, in fact, he was not dictating of multiple necessarily in Cape Fear. No, he did not do.
Did he?
Again,
All right, I'm gonna.
he did probably, but no, it was not a wonderful.
Can we agree to disagree on that? Please.
See the first Cape Fear.
All right, we're gonna go to the last clip, Doctor. Okay, and this is longer. This is going to be, I want to say about an hour and 30 minutes or so. Okay, so are you comfortable there, or do you want to go somewhere else? This is going to be a longer clip.
5 minutes has water and.
We can get you a drink of water, and we're probably going to take a break in about 20 minutes. So find a
Okay, so
good place.
there will be a bit of break.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not going to have the jury sitting there for all of this. So find a good place in about 20 minutes, and then we'll take our break there.
Sounds good, Judge. Thanks. And this is People's Exhibit 734. It's the afternoon of November 17th, 2022. It starts at 8 minutes and 23 seconds, and we're going to go to the end.
Find a reasonable breaking point.
Sure.
We just leave the TV on. Judge.
Oh, sorry.
And this is the confession. This is unfit balance. I, Maria, confess,
It's not English.
confesso quota para magna we say solemnemente. Aute radit Letecia se Dana Maria se Leda sana in conversano vetera desunt. What does it mean?
I don't know.
Well, what made you say it's a confession?
Because I saw this,
As an alaka confessor. I, Maria, confesso, we don't know what she's confessing to.
I know, I just told you it says foundation and that, how much.
But hold on, did you ever take Latin in school?
No, I just figured it was that, just to be different in Spanish because of the way it's written. I hear it in Cuban.
It's not Spanish.
Yeah, I knew it was in Spanish, but I don't know Spanish. Yeah.
We would be wise. They didn't.
Some Portuguese. That's what I said, maybe like
God. Maria, then Sana, Maria is in, that's the same mind, I think. It was, then Sana in conversano, vetera son. Well, maybe kind these and photocopy flash. Because here, it does look as if she's saying, and I'm Maria, and in the same state of mind. Requiescat in pace, rest in peace. Yeah. Lydia, AKA. Where is Lydia? I don't know. I don't. We say defending, something about defending. And for us to do this is updated, I think it would be kind of a free. You take a lot of languages. I like to say French, so. And we also sang the Requiem Mass and Requiem Mass as I get by. So anybody here? No. I don't know. So let's see. Oh, that's the lady there, it's been her for a while, she keeps going back to her husband, she on. And the wife didn't here, she gets the domestic violence. Yeah. And I keep talking to her guys, she's like a young lady. The young, like, the man who's sleeping in her house. Yeah, it was. I know, old she was getting in trouble when she. Let's go. Yeah, yeah, listen to. Yeah. Well, it could have been a player. Oh, I always looking it up. Yeah. That's good, right? It's funny, Hunter's, I think from the mass, rest in peace, right? That's good. But you believe that that is a confession from Marie? Well, I was the one word I thought it was the O. Yeah, and confess. That's the other rest. Says that. Well, because that's why I say the blood, be, was why I thought that would be different in Spanish because it wasn't. So, other than that, that's why it was Spanish. Yeah, well, it's a romance. Right. So it's from wrong. So I was the most Spanish. I figured out something. Do you think that Maria did it? Oh, I didn't. See, I remember it. And just had little flashbacks or what I mean. What are the flashbacks? Just remember blood. Yeah. And take from the appointment out to the country. Oh, okay. Tell me about the cave. Just remember seeing someone in my cave. I remember seeing someone in my cave. You remember seeing my heard a baby crying. Have you baby crying with them? Yeah, it's a lot. Really? See this. I just remember a baby crying and seeing someone in my cave. This is second interview. So tell me about the person in the game. So the person's in like a red and black cape. Yeah. How big a person? I recall. Yeah. Yeah, 6 foot. Man? I was a man. A man. Tall. 6 feet. And stay. How would songs? Well,
I just remember being like in a room in a corner or something, I hate being fun.
Was he in the corner or were you?
No, the man was in the cake in the corner.
The man was in the cake.
And the cake was red and black.
I thought yesterday, I heard you or Maria said that Janet got up and was in the cake. Is that,
I don't remember
Anthony,
Anthony. No. No.
Josh, yesterday, I mean, I thought that the picture was of Janet in the cake.
I
Realizing
never wanted to begin.
Yeah, it was a man.
Yeah,
it was a man
Yeah.
who rose up. And where was Janet?
I don't know.
And, you know, it would help if I talked directly with Maria, because she relates. And he could call her, she told us, she said, I thought. So that, yeah, it's been worse if we talk, even.
She would have never found it. She
We were there.
would have made
Well, let's,
I mean,
would you want to just kind of fade into the background of lunch? And I'm going to go to. Because if someone putting on, sure they don't, that's an put in. God, it's really terrible. Let it go here. No, they just always be. Oh my God. What? It's a good spot to pause it. We paused it at 17:31.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will take our afternoon recess. If I can have everyone back in the blue room at 3:30, we should be able to start on time at that point. Again, don't discuss the case among yourselves. Don't discuss the case with anyone else. Do not do your own independent research about any aspect of the case. And we will see you back at 3:30. All rise for the jury, please. You may all be seated. Record should reflect the jury has left the courtroom. Court will be in recess until 3:30.
All rise.
Court will recall 20 CR 1358, People versus Letecia Stauch. Record should reflect the jury's not present in the courtroom. Is the plan just to continue with the video?
That is, Your Honor. We'll just hit play and then I'll have some questions when the video.
Okay, and how much longer is the video?
Looks like it's about an hour and 11 minutes. 17:31. An hour and 20 minutes or so. My math is terrible, sorry.
Okay,
Your Honor, the parties had talked about maybe going a little bit later today, if we think he'll get done with Dr. Lewis. That would be acceptable. to the court.
if we can, I would have to check with the jury because I
Sure,
told them
absolutely.
they'd be done at 5, but, and we have one juror who
I know with the accident.
Right.
Yes.
So,
She said good.
okay. So, but if we can check with them, it's okay with me. So, all right, let's go ahead and bring the jury in.
Okay, so I can put this down.
We can move you a little bit closer.
Yeah.
All rise for the jury, please. Thank you. You may all be seated. Court will recall 20 CR 1358. People that Letecia Stauch, record should reflect the jury is present in the courtroom. Mr. Young?
Yeah, we'll start the video at 17:31.
Yeah, the home where this city really bad. And you live the sideburns on it, or you live the sideburns on it. And he has that sit down on that. But. And. So. Marie? Marie? What is called retention? What do you see? Did they go? Marie, I think it's time for me. Which story is letter? Yeah. I don't. Yeah. Marie. Tell me that. Can you read it to me? And what the language it's in? And what is it? How many? What does it mean? Okay. Kind of important. It's really. It's. Which is. And you normally. When you want. You should read that.
No, just the. Four. Four up here. You see my hand? What do you want? I want you to tell me what it says. Can you translate? Of course I can. Okay. Can you translate? Would you translate it for me? This. Those. With the like I'm to and also right to. And when then let's see and was it to fast. I'm going to yeah, what is yeah. I voluntarily. So the best. Some defense, you know. I can bet when it's self-defense, what did you do? You know me. I had the impression that we don't want Letecia to be playing for what happened to them. That you feel you are more powerful and more in control than she. It was fun. You told me. What is her name? Or what is her? Do you think, harmony sometimes means people not sounding out of key with each other? Just wondering whether the is on the right of the this whole harmony was arrested, harmony was left. And how old is her? And who was it? And who's it? In that, pardon? In that. Leticia's dad or Leticia? That is respecting. Well, let's do harmony. As of yet. Leticia. And who's harmony son? I do it just yeah. Just didn't you sit already as a baby? She's 10 years old and she was molested by her step again and again was by stepfather. By who? Which who like molested Gavin and Harmony. I beg but I understand molested Gavin and Harmony. And Harmony was 10 years old. When was Gavin molested? He was 10 years old. And what's like that? I don't know. How do you know about this? You know, Letecia told. How did she know? And she wasn't going to help. She was going to handle it herself. Letecia keeps. She's demanding, so. Oh, she, like Helen first did. It's all about, well, I'm just kind of putting two and two together. To Michael. She's gonna have one herself. I'm confused. Where's Mike? What is like that? I didn't understand. You don't know his name, but you know his first name is Mike. Yes. And he bought it again. How did you find it? I bought it from him. I thought you said that he left it from. No, from me, but that was the thing. I thought mine was the same one. No, it was something extended. James. Oh, my James. The one who molested. Letecia. Tell me about the trip. I did not go to Florida. Pardon me? I did not go to Florida. You didn't go to Florida. I thought that you, after Janet died, you said you were the one shot. I did not go to Florida. Why? Because Florida go to Florida. To Florida? Because Letecia went with again after you died. I had to talk to you. What work did you do while they were in Florida? I was doing other jobs. Like what? Taking care of other people? Really? Getting rid of them? You know? What? What? You got a lot of money. I didn't got a lot of money. I really do. I'm money laundering. How do you launder it? Through what? I can tell you. You've seen this. Have you ever killed anyone? In Mexico. Denver. That's not enough matter. Who? Someone who was going to Letecia. Who is the? Someone who was going to Letecia. Hold him. Hurt him. Who? What is it? Job was done, and job was done. So you've really been her defender for a long time. Yeah. Nothing, of course, for that. Not too many do that. Just a dog. Do you have family? I don't need them. You do? They all die. Really? You should know this. What? You think I would go around with 50 people voting in without having a facts for me? What's that, sir? You don't say. So, why did Letecia take and down? She did not. How much she did? No, she did not. Well, it's just because I know. I mean, you did not. But I mean, you did not. As I understand it, was down there. I mean, you're wrong. I think apparently you're wrong. So, well, that you do not know. Pardon me, you do not know. No, Do you?
I know a lot of people.
Why did she get rid of Ian's file?
She did not do that.
Who did you?
I know a lot of people, like I said.
Or
I know a lot of people, like I said.
so did you get something? So you got something to
Like I said, I know a lot of
tell me. After Gannon was shot, how did you consider getting into what is that kid? How did you manage her?
she tried to get to the hospital.
But him, she was not strong.
Lena tried to help her.
Her
Lena tried to help her.
later tried to help her. Was he in there?
And of course, Lena was there.
And what did Lena do?
She helped her into the bar.
What about her?
No, she was leaving her.
She was what? She was a child, they grew up.
No, not the picture. But she see blood. She wondered why there was blood everywhere.
Yeah. So she wasn't there when you shot.
No, I'm mistaken.
She stayed asleep. It's my understanding. It's that you shot the man with the cape. Is that correct? Correct. Did it turn out to be that?
Not to me.
How did it happen there? How did it turn out again?
Later on, but it was supposed to be.
I don't get it.
I have to figure out what to do with it later. Once it was scanned. Figure out
How did you?
the colors and prints, the puppies and some moms. Figure it out, you know.
So there were two people.
No, I have to call some friends to help me out, you know.
You had to call some parents to help you out to do what?
To get it to the bottom.
But where the man in the cave?
We don't have a man in the cave. I thought it was the man in the cave. It's not.
It was again.
But after the PC.
Do you have any idea why? Yeah, in your recollection, you were at the time, seemed to be a man in a cape.
I don't know.
Where that's wonderful. Just like you figure out the news. Here, Letecia showed that Gavin was on that blanket. Do you see? See, Gavin on the blanket. Do you think that he could have stood up and put the blanket around him so that he looked like the man?
There could be a possibility, but to me it was a cave.
What?
But to me it was a cave.
Yeah, but I was wondering if then it turned out to be Gavin. And you meant to only shoot a man with a cape? What did you think he was doing? What to shoot?
He's going too far, but he's here. I think that purpose.
And then I was here.
Why would a man be in a house with a cave?
No. Do you
Do you allow men in normal to cave?
think I've ever had a man with a cape
Or would you prove for males in normal?
that I didn't know? Probably well, I know.
When did you, I do different things, I need them.
You mean he was shooting?
Correct. Special training
Yeah.
in my past.
Who were you in your past life?
I already told you I can't tell you about my family.
And that would tell me if you told me about your past. Can you put me in touch with somebody who could tell me about why they took Canada to Florida. Tell me some of the reasoning behind it.
Because I have to Letecia first.
You have to,
Protect Letecia.
Yeah.
That's not even on job.
so somebody were to tell me that Letecia was someone else perhaps put her in the car and went to Florida without being protected. That would get in her trouble.
I cannot be very trouble. The protector first.
Yeah.
Associate power. If you not have emotional intelligence. I think we take it. Doesn't matter who it is in the end. We're not gonna cry for the. So what happened?
What is going to do?
But then they did it.
How do you feel about talking with me?
Are you,
Am I what?
are you a director?
Oh, what?
A director?
Dirt? So,
Correct.
a threat.
You're a director.
This. Yeah. I do my best to help. Letecia.
So you, and then
But,
if I had emotions,
yeah,
I can cry.
you can't.
If I cry,
You lose your power.
so as bad as myself to you, get rid of the body, it's easy to. That's how.
Can Letecia well?
Sometimes. She tried to come home and she cannot, but I'm.
When did you first come to Letecia?
A very long,
How old was she?
being that was maybe 16,
15, 16, it's not that long ago.
he's pretty old.
What was going on with her when you came?
She doesn't have to listen.
Pardon me?
She doesn't have to listen.
That doesn't quite explain why you came.
She gets herself in a lot of trouble.
What thing told her she worked herself into why
She
she,
lives in a bad, but
yeah, what she did,
they don't have to communicate effectively.
yeah.
Gets herself in all the problems she should be involved in. She's stubborn.
What was going on with her thing was you say that you help her. So there must be something she needed help with. What's that to her before? You sizing me up? Interesting.
You don't really know.
I don't know what,
You don't really know what's going on.
no, I can kind of wonder if she has a lot of mistreatment by men. So it certainly makes me wonder if someone was mistreating her. Is that
Do you really know why she lives in Electronics?
why she,
You do really know why she lives in Electronics?
why she does?
Why she lives in Electronics?
Oh, why she doesn't like drugs? Why doesn't she like drugs?
Because her stepdad trying to start selling them drugs.
Yeah. Selling her.
Selling the form drugs.
Oh, geez, which is, no, it's Jane's the jackets and selling her.
They tried to, but did not succeed. That's not.
What was that, Ranger?
He was making her drive around the car and get drugs. For him,
But
to
to
try to get her Spanish her drugs. His nephews.
did she not do? Did she?
No, she did not.
How did she?
She didn't know us to have the board.
She hit him with a board. Who?
James,
Um, When you saw that boy, when the man was with the king, he had hole at the top of his head. What I was wondering is, if you were anything, I didn't mistake him or see, hit him on the head with a board or with something.
he hit his head on the road,
He hit his head on what?
on the road.
On the floor? I don't think you've seen that.
Picture of like that. He hit his head on the road. There was a baseboard in the floor in the wood.
You have to jump up something.
It was on the floor. There was baseboard sticking out on the floor. That's where he hit his head. Just trying to tell you this happened. That's what happened. He hit his head on the baseboard on the floor.
Doesn't fit.
Okay, this is what happened.
Look at the picture. He hit his head on top of his head.
And then that's all that is.
He was like, oh, you got me.
That's all it means.
Um, So James was trying to sell Letecia. Never really. Pardon? When she was a teen. What would he do?
He laid down cocaine.
Yeah.
And she was running around with the cocaine.
He didn't go out either.
Which is right. There's kids in the family.
Who would do it? Yeah.
There's babies in the back.
Why baby? Well, that's,
She has siblings.
so,
And Cici has siblings.
didn't let him,
Then Cici has siblings in the back.
she siblings, and she didn't work.
Julie.
No, just true.
I don't remember how she was. I wasn't there since we had her.
How long did she have to? What's did you do, son? Trains,
For the year.
and then,
Just beat him with a board.
and so
She beat him with a board and he found
she beat James was bored. Where,
in his home. He was sleeping.
when, did he die?
No, she was a sibling. He did not know anymore.
Was it really you? Yeah. What makes you what? Because it did not do it anymore. So you had to do that very time.
He went to sleep. Took him on board. Went to sleep, I took him on board, just beat him really hard. They say you don't know what being in a drunk or when you're high. At least he had room to show for it.
How about, other trainings?
That was me.
That was trainings.
Yeah, it was.
And that was when,
He was trying to follow everybody's hand.
something was surreal. Very exciting around that time. And, people got confused, who was the person for the queen? You know, see Letecia.
James Warner case.
Uh,
James Warner case.
James LAYLALOVE.
He's a dark.
Did he expose this one? Funny.
You don't know about the case because he thought he was a hero.
He thought it was a superhero.
The problems. With problems.
Oh. Why would we do it blind, you know? I'm sorry, why didn't Harley go along when they were going to Florida? Harley went along with her, didn't she? No, isn't she?
I think she did.
What?
I think she did.
I think she did, yeah. How did she?
Nothing. She not having.
Did you know that Gannon was in the back?
No. There's no guy in the back, no car, someone else help. Someone else got my rate to go to, like all different people to know. I don't know why this is hard for you to understand.
Really? From what I understand, you see, you're over there to Florida. And then after she got rid of the suitcase,
And she said they're not do that. I already told you, I had someone else to do that.
well, whoever was put Gannon in her suitcase and kept him there, and then went to Florida. And then tossed him off the side of the bridge.
I gave it Chris like I had nothing to do with this, yeah, and she did not do that.
Hmm.
And I had someone else to do that. I already told you that.
I think that's someone else.
Well, one time, I already told you this, but if he knew that, she wasn't aware of it.
But she was down in Florida.
Of course she was.
So what was she doing?
But she was going to move to Florida.
He said
She was going to move to Florida.
she was going to move there. They want.
That's her same place.
Same place.
I don't know who we last got that, I mean,
Do you think she'll tell me?
I don't know, maybe.
If you let her, then I think if you let her. What would you get away from? I mean, that's good. And women.
I don't know.
And if he was everyone, he was the worst of us. Since she's in the Florida. Yes. You know, you think you don't have any works. How does Letecia feel about what happened to Gannon?
That person tried to do herself, but we did that.
You stop. And she wants to kill herself because of what happened to her.
Every day.
Oh, my.
He tried to push herself down the tunnel. So herself down the tunnel, this is cheap.
That's more of a
Multiple things.
what it is.
There's a need, but I had really hard, most of her head open.
If she tries to kill herself, Would you make a deal with me and 50% in mine?
There was a lot of everything.
Is a whole bunch. How old is she?
Started with Sadie,
I feel
started with Vyzine,
lazy and
for food. The boys ever did,
here.
and
What did they find it?
no, but then the email,
Pardon?
another thing we found him,
Another related, they tell.
no, they did not switch.
It's pretty.
Should I did your ball up there?
To jump all the time too.
Yes.
And what happened?
I did. And what you jump? Would you just throw it down?
Where did you?
I threw it down the step.
Yeah. So that she would hurt herself. Why did she hurt herself?
Why would you think so, man? You got someone like me who doesn't care, don't care whatever people, this is for the good. You have someone like her,
But she thinks that she did it, right?
you know, someone like her, don't hurt.
Yeah. So, yeah. Maybe he had, very helpful. Here, coming in. How did you do it?
I was driving to run, that was someone else's hand.
Yeah.
And it went off. Someone really good shoot on,
You, oh,
but I did a kill. I don't think we got the shots.
well, how did you feel? Was, who's in the cake was, yeah, it's not, when it,
My first thought was to get rid of the ball.
and then
My first thought is to get rid of the bottom.
the shoe was still correct. So,
And incorporating,
they,
I don't need my social life. I don't put in my socials, I cinch on my socials. And probably. So did the past too, you know.
I think you read a lot.
No, I don't read it all.
You don't read it all.
No,
So where do you get your kind of psychiatric conclusion? So I didn't.
and I'm not trying to rush of them. Long time ago.
Different life. How many months?
Here's a professional, we should have found that out.
Are you?
Um,
You know, it seems to me that sometimes when you want to do right, something like you seem to hear that Letecia, that your thinking is kind of wacky. And she gets blamed for stuff that is really pretty well.
No, it's very rarely.
But this is pretty serious.
What are my odds? They're very, very slim.
What else?
Usually I never call client things.
Well, in this case, she takes the blame. That's perhaps why we don't get caught, because someone takes the blame.
But I always take over her. You take the times that I take over her and I rescue her versus the time that I make a mistake. They outweigh.
You take over her.
And the good outweighs the bad one.
What if you tell me the good parts? You take it over her. And that's really all.
From the very beginning, I'm gonna save her life multiple times. The good outweighs the bad. If I had not done those things, she would not even be here today. So why does it matter? If I make a mistake, why does that matter? I may have special powers, but I'm not perfect.
Well, I'll say, oh, I mean, this is a.
Right? Do you think I have a making a mistake?
I think
Do you think I have a making a mistake?
you.
Do you think I have a when I make a mistake?
No. I can't understand the word.
Do you think I have a when I make a mistake?
Yes.
Do I like living when I
We
make
like everything, do you?
a
No. So what do you do yourself?
Try harder this time.
But you say that the good you've done for yourself.
Correct.
When she was in, what did you?
I didn't start helping her until she's old.
And so,
I didn't start helping her until she was old.
how old was she? Still
A teenager.
And what did you do for her?
I took her from James.
And how did you do that?
He could her in the pool one time when she could not spend.
And so that's
He
true.
threw her in the pool when she could not swim.
You threw her a bullet, she was swim.
She could swim really, really good, but she had cracks. Leg cracks.
Yes.
I saved her.
How do you say that?
Or her leg elbow. She would float.
Did you? And he threw her a bullet. Tell me, Maria, does anyone else know about this? Like the book?
Happened in Georgetown, South Carolina.
Who was there?
Was at Miss Burrow's house.
And
Brenda went there to Pearl's house.
I'm sorry,
Brenda went to Pearl's house. Brenda,
Brenda, we all went. I don't know Brenda.
I don't know him.
I don't think so, was Brenda.
She's come through Louisiana.
She's what?
Came through Louisiana.
She tells her. Does she sometimes take over?
No, Brenda's family.
Do you know any Brenda?
Yeah, that's for, the teacher's aide.
And she says that Brenda has been helpful.
He went to go to Pearl's house. Pearl's house is where they got Pearl.
And do you know Pearl?
No.
And that's where she's from.
Her.
And he was from James.
Her.
So who would know that? It's like,
Maybe I speak to Pearl.
can you do that? Do you know Pearl? Or you know?
We don't know.
What?
I don't know.
We don't know what you do.
Okay.
I can ask Grace.
And
She lives in Georgetown.
so they have the house, what he done?
Stay there.
They do.
He laughed and thought it was funny.
They stays.
He's dead, right?
So he was great.
Of course.
What else did you know?
You're in the car and tried to kill herself.
When was that? Was that? Tell me about the car.
She tried to put it herself and she learned how to get it free.
And did you do anything to help? What did you do?
I have to get out of the car.
Get out of the
Car to safety.
what do you do when she wants to kill herself?
Well, she's been part of that she was living.
So how come she tried to kill herself and
She thought she saw her in her car.
she thought,
She saw her ex-husband in the car.
was he the girl?
She thought she always saw him.
Really?
So she told him that he.
Who knows her? About her? She's very little before you came.
It was about her.
Does anyone know her?
This is it. I don't know. She had friends. But I have friends, but she doesn't.
Why did you come?
Because she did not have any. She did not have everything. She didn't have a problem. Maybe I don't know if you're but you had other info.
Yeah. And you?
I didn't think of it.
Of what? What they done?
Ready to the other now, tell me.
Did you kill him?
No,
Then I'm like, yes, too.
started from.
So you have lots of secrets.
It's kind of understanding.
You know, this time it looks as if Letecia's going to get the blame for stuff that you were involved in.
I'm still predicting.
How are you pretending?
So many of her girls.
And so,
What's not trying to work for us to protect her.
and how do you protect her from taking the blame for all of this?
That can't hurt her. It doesn't cause her physical pain.
Is that the only kind of pain you protect her from?
Yes,
What about mental pain?
I can control that.
It's interesting. And you two have limits. Can we do anything for you? Marina? No. Think about it. It's a pretty good offer. May I ask these people here if they have any questions?
I can answer to them.
Let me see the last. Do you have anything you'd like me to ask?
To who are the people that helped get Gannon in Florida?
That helped.
Who, that, how did Gannon get to Florida?
What's that?
Special right. What is the question?
Who helped Gannon get to Florida?
I called some friends that I already told you.
Of them.
I called some friends that I already told you.
Well, I remember they asked her. And then she went up to Seth Rowan.
Who is she?
TC.
I told you my involvement in this.
And so,
I already told you my involvement in this. And I don't have to tell you who I called.
why?
This is important.
Well, it's,
That's what the already said she would take the blame for that. But I'm not going to tell you who was involved.
Well, aren't we making, taking a look at that?
That has something to do with me.
Because they may charge Harley, there's something you can charge a Harley.
How do you feel about it, Harley?
That's what it would be now.
I'm just asking you, how do you feel about it?
Check the TCI.
Even from Harley? Excuse me? Even from Harley?
I'm going to Carly if she needs me to, but I want to look at the TCI.
You would protect her.
Or
Why did someone toss Garrett out of the car? You want what was it? It's completely unwise that.
there wasn't trying to false them out. I never said that. They were trying to. They were not trying to false them out.
What were we doing? What do you think? First of all, it's not really right.
They were not trying to false them out.
But he went.
So you want me to give you a better statement what the person told me? Even though I'm not going to get it for what?
That's it. Yeah, so why did you hear?
Person was angry because they did not get the money. To get rid of the money.
Yeah. There you go. With it, for money, would have cut me.
Correct. It would have been disposed of the, on the one.
So why did they miss the buck there?
The money didn't come out also. Like I said, I'm not giving you names, so the money did not come out.
So, as far as you know, she went to Florida to have other people.
She was not in the right mind. She did not do what she was supposed to do to get the money to people.
She was not in her right mind. What kind of state was she in?
I don't know how to control rates.
Well, you said she wasn't in her right mind either.
Because I told her to do something that she did not do.
Would you tell her?
She was supposed to meet the guy to get the money.
Yeah.
And she did not do that.
What did you do instead?
She was probably driving wrong routes. It was not the correct route she was supposed to drive. No, the correct, she was supposed to be in the right place. She did not need at the right place.
Okay, so it's the wrong route.
Correct.
Yeah. So she, it was, no, the bill was on.
Correct.
But
But
then
I made it.
you made the deal and where couldn't get from. But still, apparently she did get rid of the bottle. She tossed it.
I just told you, she did not need the people. The people are here, they did not have their money.
I know, but somebody tossed the body out of the car.
Correct. And they didn't have their money. There was no money.
If they tossed the body,
Yes, she never had the body.
maybe she did.
She did not take the body to Florida.
Who took the body? Or,
You just asked me this question.
Yeah.
They're not accepting the truth.
well, I'm confused.
Okay. They're not accepting the truth. She never had the body. So she tried to stupid.
But there's,
There was no thing, there was no evidence of her having the bodies there.
wasn't there evidence? The suitcase wasn't admitted.
That's not evidence of her having the body from her missing time. No,
The suitcase with the body, according to Harley, was in the van.
no, that's the thing that.
That's what Harley says.
Or from her references.
And then the suitcase was found a mile away from the hotel that she was staying in.
She did not think it was intended to write. There was no bill. The people did not meet.
And get all the cuts on.
During the fire,
No, they cuts.
there was no bill.
There were cuts.
I don't know anything about it. She asked me here, she doesn't know. I think it's something personal, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I don't know about it.
That's a cut.
So there's stuff that even you don't know.
I don't know this. I did not cut anyone. Um, And then I'm opinion.
No, that's somebody hit him with something. That's okay. That's the bull.
Whatever you put up in the board.
That's somebody hit him with something.
When you shot them,
Where you put it up.
when you shot them, did you know that?
Where you put it up. I don't know if it was like what. Where you put it.
You did not.
Where the photos come in here.
Yeah, but who was? Did you think it was the devil?
No, then I know words. And then straight right and keep the answer you worked out.
Yeah.
So we have a 6 foot.
But the person you know I did. No. How did you feel when you realized it was again?
I told you I did not know it was, I know that I recognized. And I told you I did not have emotions to know that bit.
I don't
Well, I didn't say. But sure, pain.
know. I think that you do that.
I don't have feelings.
What if you feel it's bad if I wanted to? Yeah, it's fine.
I don't have feelings about that.
I didn't say nothing.
I'm sorry that it happened for Letecia.
What?
Because of your daughter. And if she's upset, I'm upset.
You get it? She could have said, you know, we suggested underneath that, trying to put the stuff. You do. You're acting with you, and you're so good at staring at puppets. Bedroom. But, I think that if you feel bad when bad things happen to Letecia.
Maybe.
It's a good sign, you know? It's a good sign. Do you know anyone who knows, why they didn't have to farm and who helped carry it? Do you know anyone who could help you or?
No, I didn't have brought it. I told you I didn't. I told you I didn't.
Because of these people, but I mean, do you know who, like, who helped carry it? You don't.
She already told you that she will take the trial after that. She already told you. You do not understand. She cannot know who the people are. You don't understand how serious that is. You think this is a joke?
Look, it's like,
It's not a joke. Those are petty charges. Do you think this is a joke?
that's what they say.
That is a, you cannot tell on these people. I don't think you guys are understanding how serious that is.
You mean they would kill me?
You don't understand. It's not funny. It's not made up. It's not a delusion. It's for real. The money wasn't there. You can't snitch. I don't understand why you don't get that.
Can you tell me what's in Letecia family? Who involved with these search
She
trials?
doesn't have a family. What is wrong with you people?
Among friends.
Do you think she went around a teaching salary? What is wrong with you people? What else do you think she was doing? You think it was legal?
And so she That's actually better, right?
Do you really think it was legal? You don't want me to sit here and tell you this?
No.
Okay. Okay. She didn't do bad things to bad people, to good people, bad people, none of those.
I know.
She's definitely not going to tell you.
Yeah.
She's not gonna definitely tell you that. Most other people die. No. That's a part of the piece that you cannot ever know. Because someday happen.
Do you get a judge for the situation?
No.
Because I think I'll say that
You guys live in a perfect world, and it's
kind of big time.
you live in a perfect world, it's not a game, I don't do games, games are stupid.
But you're saying that there are very powerful people behind.
Absolutely. When it comes to that part, absolutely. Give me answer to what you want to cover. But I would never give you answers. Never. So I cannot.
Well, we don't really want to know. A lot of we just want to know how. How. Yeah. That into these things. Yeah. Who is 60? It's not struggling to do all that. So,
What's the because I'm struggling.
so maybe, but
Maria has enough power to not see me. Can I see the muscles I have?
so you're saying that you could help.
I could do anything.
Do you have any other questions about this?
Do you know anybody who could help about getting that cut?
Whatever this calls out. Okay.
Yeah, it cuts on his hands and his arms and his chest.
And he's back. You don't know patient has a bad kidney.
No,
You promise.
absolutely.
He had enough in his head. Then I didn't know it was him. I was someone in the cave. But this sound moved like a name. If I looked at us, I was like, that's why I love these zombies. It wasn't a bad thing. You won't believe it was bad.
You say here,
Yes.
what kind
So,
of equipment?
stay like,
The kitchen knife?
yes.
How did you get it?
I don't know, but I didn't know here inside.
Uh,
It's her name, it's what I was in it. I was down to
How do you do this on him?
starting stuff, doing this, promoting the gun, zombies.
You pulled it with the gun and then
I'll go away with the gun, sideways moving off. She's on killing. You put it with the gun.
You dropped it out and it was ever found.
I don't know.
Do you know? Was it found?
There's probably a picture.
They weren't necessarily looking for that, because they didn't know that he had the cuts on him. He was gone for a month and a half.
Had they noticed when we would, but I hope that they noticed blood on the thing, probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who could have been working that?
Because if the other guy said it was getting. And she was screaming, screaming. We have to listen to that. Clean the room, she was speaking that. If we do all that, nothing ever happened. It's not real. This thing really happened. If we just clean it all up, this thing really happened. She just fix it, make everything back pretty the way it was, nothing ever was real. And she said, we have to go to the hospital, we have to go to the hospital.
Yeah, and
And she was trying to take him to the hospital, and Lena was picking up his body to go to the hospital. So Lena was taking the body instead, that's what it's doing. Lena,
Lena, is that Lena?
Lena was taking the body to go upstairs to the hospital. It was just laying there.
Who was making that sound?
I was making this sound. Trying to breathe. It's just trying to get able to breathe. They him up because could not breathe.
She was,
They doesn't seem to take it off.
so she didn't mean for him to be dead.
No. How did I?
Or did you, when you struck the gun, who did you?
There was Irish.
And who did you say first?
The woman came out of the farm.
But you didn't recognize it.
No, the really tall and big.
Did you think it was James?
Thought it was someone in the cave. You could have been a monster. Anyone.
Who was the one who kept, case?
James.
James, yeah, but
I think it was James.
The big party.
pardon?
Big party.
I still don't understand. What,
Harvey thought it was James.
what,
Did Harvey come out?
That's the baby cry was from me.
the baby cries.
It's already.
Did Harvey hit him with anything?
Shit, I don't know. So nobody took. Nobody took.
But with Harvey trying to hurt James.
But Harvey was a little baby.
She's 10. Nobody was trying.
Her questions might seem odd. You know, I don't know, but, as you were. Would you ever hear?
Was not with her.
Yeah. The reason I'm asking is, it is very, very, very common for someone who extends from all things, Letecia Stauch, because they usually start. Much of their lives, they hear a big cry. Sometimes they'll, I think you saw, don't know if he referred to baby, but he was always crying and baby energy. But very many people early on toward forever trying to hear the baby wail. And it's interesting, she said, I've never heard the name Harmony. What did
Can we talk to her?
what?
Can we talk to her?
You have to ask Letecia.
People, or you go back to New York City, when you,
It's going to be so bad.
when
It's just going to be so bad. No, it's going to be so bad.
why would you do that?
She didn't want me to tell you that. Yeah, no, she didn't want me to tell you because she doesn't want me to be treated as badly.
You must have felt you needed it. And indeed, even.
Why did he have the note?
Sometimes I got my when you think it's like. Do you reckon she's so burdens?
Would it ever like he was gonna hurt me?
No, he would say he's so different than me. He's so too fascinated for it. Even this, the guy was for that.
For the man.
And then he's about a month ago, I said, try to get him up for it. So she's working last week. So she didn't want him to know that. She didn't want him to know.
Well, it's how good it is that we need else.
I didn't know anything to be as bad, but he was not bad. I feel like it's what happened.
I can't,
It's my only, his regular, Spanish practice was just to grab a weapon and slam. So.
What is this?
She did not go to the more than him. No, she never harmed him.
You're an answer. What is this thing like to be able to share?
Stop the tape. It's the time,
Okay.
so that we can get some questions.
Okay.
Dr. Lewis, how are you doing? Yeah, you want me to help you?
I got it.
Okay.
Did you want to turn the TV up? And I'll turn the lights back on.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Lewis, I want you to do the best you can just to answer my questions so we can get through this quickly, okay? Is that fair? This Latin confession that you talked about in the beginning, you lost that, right?
And I don't know where it is.
Even though you asked to have copies done, you never found that confession again. Correct?
So I was unaware of it. So it was on.
Okay. Now, do you still think, having watched this video, that it was a good idea to have Mr. Cellini in there with you?
Yeah.
You think it's appropriate for Mr. Cellini to plant the seed with the defendant that it was James that she actually shot?
I don't think that he planted any seeds. I don't think that she came up with that. I think that I appreciated watching all of it was how extremely confused it was, how big it was. I think that it did help for him. It's so complicated. For someone who knew much more of all of the details.
It helps his theory. And when he asked, do you think it was James? That helps the theory of the defense, right? That somehow she mistaken a little 11-year-old boy for the stepson that's been, or the stepfather that's been dead since 2004.
I'm not aware that this is his theory.
Can you explain why at one point the defendant could not see or hear Mr. Cellini. He had to repeat a question that Mr. Cellini asked. And then when Mr. Cellini asked about Harley, she answered it no problem. How does that happen? Did that not go as according to script?
I don't know what the script is or what you're referring to. I don't know why it's, what meaning that has. She's- who did not know what had happened.
When she was pretending to be Maria, she said, "I can't see them." Do you recall that?
I don't recall pretending to have, by the way, seen a couple of cases where in one iteration or and either blind or also true other sensation.
And then she was somehow cured and could see him and answer questions, no problem.
This happens. It is well
It's fluid.
described in literature, and I've only seen it.
Why did you ask the defendant if she thought it was a devil or a demon?
Simply wondering, what did you?
Looking for evidence of psychosis, perhaps?
Oh, I am not looking for evidence of anything. Trying to understand what she perceived. Because I know no evidence that she hated Gannon, so that she harmed her in any way that I could find a precipitating cause. I wonder, since it is fairly common for people kind of dangerous or frightening thing, it apparently have some notion of some creature in a cave, that it was neither here nor there to find out did she see something different, and it did not seem to affect what she said. She clearly does not know clearly what was going on in her head.
Or she just doesn't want to tell you, right? She just can't bring herself to tell you what she did to Gannon, could she?
Well, but I think that you're correct that she, something about what had happened there that is unacceptable psychologically. I question about it. She did it.
Well, and here's what I want you to consider, okay? This whole story about her acting in self-defense and Gannon having a knife and she thinking that it's crazy ass James or whatever the heck his name is, and shoots him. And then it turns to self-defense. And it turns into someone gets rid of the body. It's just her not being able to tell you what she did to Gannon. Is that true?
Cannot tell us what she did.
And here's the flaw in your theory.
What is my theory? I'm not
The
sure.
theory that she had a different personality and Maria, the sociopath, did this murder, okay?
No.
You can't explain,
No,
doctor,
that
you
is not my
cannot.
theory. Do not.
Well, what's your theory? You're saying she's legally insane.
Yes, my really psychiatrically ill, and that she hallucinates, that she is delusional, and that her line of thinking is confused, addled, and frightened, and but I don't have a particular theory that she killed this person for that reason.
Why didn't you ask her about why she gave Gannon an excessive amount of hydrocodone?
I didn't know that she gave that.
Do you think that's important?
Only if I know for sure she gave somebody that.
You read the autopsy report, you know it's there.
I know that he had this. I don't know who gave it to him. I've seen many cases where children have excessive amounts of poisonous things in their food, but there are many different reasons for it.
Your Honor, those are my questions. Thanks. I have no further questions for this witness.
Your Director.
I'll try to go Dr. Lewis, how are you? We're gonna rehash everything, but I do want to clear up just a couple of things with you. One, in regards to the EEG and the emails that were shown to you, as far as you saying that let's hold off on doing the EEG, that was at that point in time, and then you indicated that you want to do the evaluation first. Recall that from the emails?
Well, that there were other things to do, and it was not something that I was going to get hung up on at that moment.
At that point in time. And then in a report that you did for the court on February 12th, in that report, you put down the need you thought for both an MRI and an EEG, correct?
Correct.
And you recall in relation to this court, the issue being that this court would not give us any more time to get those things done. Me relating that to you.
I'm gonna
What I
object, Your Honor,
heard
to the
was
meeting.
that the court
Sus-
refused.
sustained.
to do it. I was told.
Your Honor, I have an
that-
objection.
Stop.
Okay.
The objection was sustained. The witness will stop responding to a question when an objection has been sustained. The jury will disregard the witness's answer. You can ask another question.
All right. Moving on to some of the other stuff. The district attorney on his cross insinuated some stuff that the motive for killing Gannon was somehow that Ms. Stauch wanted to move to Florida. Does that make any rational sense?
Not to me.
Can you think of any way that brutally murdering Gannon would enable her to move to Florida? Can you think any sense how that would fit into any plan to move to Florida? Does that make any rational sense whatsoever? If the definition of insanity in Colorado is that a person is incapable of distinguishing right from wrong with respect to an act, would that change your opinion on Ms. Stauch being legally insane at the time of Gannon's death? That last part that we were there, the interview, that was the last kind of part of a long 3 days of interviewing Ms. Stauch. Correct? Had I expressed my frustration that she wouldn't account for taking Gannon to Florida, or she wouldn't account for the stab wounds?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation as to what Mr. Freeney was thinking.
Had I expressed
Well, no,
that to you?
He said expressed, so I think,
Well, then it's hearsay.
well, can't repeat what Mr. Bellini had said, but maybe you should move to your next question, and I can see where you're going.
Was there ever any attempt by myself saying I need by myself to try to get her to say something specific or some type of theory or anything like that that I had done with you? Okay. If you were aware that those videotapes were all going to be turned over to the district attorney, you're also aware that I have had years plus of confidential communications with Ms. Stauch. Are you aware of that?
I assume that assumption.
And if I was going to do something unethical, as they seem to be implying, wouldn't it make, I would have just been able to do that confidentially instead of on an open video.
I'm gonna object to that form of question.
Sustained.
If I was trying to feed her a story, it wouldn't make any sense for me to do it in that setting where it's recorded, would it?
No.
In any of the materials or anything else that you have looked at, is there any other rational explanation as to why Ms. Stauch did this other than the psychotic episode? Any type of motive?
I'm unaware of any or any motive that makes any sense. Why, why he became a victim, what happened.
The state hospital has diagnosed her with borderline personality disorder. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Are there similarities between borderline personality disorder and DID?
Objection, Your Honor, beyond the scope of cross.
Don't allow it.
Are there similarities between borderline personality disorder and DID?
Yes, they are.
What are some of those similarities?
Well, there are many similarities. The reality, what is real, what is real. Difference, ability to consistent way between or you.
If Ms. Stauch had sometime in the years preceding this event had Googled, "I don't like my stepson," will that possibly explain the rage in which this homicide occurred?
I don't know.
Yes. Are you still firm in your opinion, your expert opinion, based upon almost well over 50, 60 years of practice, that in your expert opinion, Ms. Stauch was insane at the time of the death?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
Do you learn, have you learned lots of things over your experience in interviewing and evaluating people with DID? Over the, what, 40,
100 years,
yes, over 40 plus 50 years. Have you learned at picking up on subtle cues? Have you learned, or on your experience, that is it unusual for alters to have almost fantasy type lives?
I would say it's a definition of the.
Are, in your experience, are the alters perceiving reality as a rational person would?
Thinking of oneself as someone other than the everyday person that we need to know. This is a fantasy, often a very changeable, different, altering kind of entity. It's not a consistent, a typical life history with ordinary relationships and family ties that go on. As you saw here, it can vary within the period of time you're following.
Absolutely. And Dr. Lewis, we're getting close to the end of the day. Is there anything last that you think is really important for this jury to know or understand about your diagnosis?
It, what you call it. What you call it is so much less important than what you understand about it. What you understand about it is that, oh, this individual has been living a psychotic life unrelated to reality, related to the way you or I or the rest of us experience reality, that it changes. It has been often diagnosed as schizophrenia when people question whether association has any of the signs, symptoms, behaviors as what we call visual. They're very odd relationships, inability to sustain going. I don't care, call it. But in some psychosis with dissociative. It's that the person is living psychotic life and stimuli that by and large are typical of her, that not stimuli that the rest of us perceive.
I have an objection based on that last answer with regards to what we received in her scope of approval. That had been stricken.
Mr. Tellini?
I mean, I think that was in her report and she was expounding on what she had seen in the video and what was going on.
Well, I'm going to allow it. I'm also going to end this answer.
Okay. And then lastly, Dr. Lewis, just one other question that I had. Would it then, if somebody was suffering that type of mental illness, would it be possible for a daughter who has been with them most of her life not to be aware of it?
That's a tough question because to be aware of it would respond a whole. I can answer that. It's easy not to be aware of it. To be aware of the term dissociation, not to be able to conceptualize psychosis. That, of course, is possible. But just to say not to be aware of it. For certain psychiatrists.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Lewis.
All right. Do any of the jurors have any questions for Dr. Lewis? Looks like we have. Good. We passed all of them forward and retrieve those and council approach, please. paragraph,
So that's paragraph 2.
right?
Okay, then you're
Yeah,
right.
I think it's.
So, because I agree that's how they have to do that.
Right.
But I think it starts out with, if you found the defendant guilty of one or more, I think that relates to Roman numeral 2. Your next paragraph is, if however you found the defendant not guilty of any one of the following charges, then sign Roman numeral 1. And that would be right, because Roman numeral 1 is the not guilty with the interrogatory on page 2. Guilty is Roman numeral 2.
Okay.
So
Problem making all the corrections, including the ones that you.
Okay. I'll
You want to give me a hard copy and I'll just make all the.
Yeah.
Email everybody?
yeah, that's fine.
I can approach.
Yep. Let's see, where was it? Here is the Roman numeral 1 and Roman numeral 2 issue. Here is the statutory language.
Now I judicial notice one as well.
Yes, please. And that should just be stock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's the qualified witness.
Field records and so forth of regurgitation by Ms. Strobel.
Whatever you come up with.
Something together and send it to your analysis.
Okay. Okay. All right. And then the only instruction that we'll still have an issue with, that we'll have to argue about, is you have a question or an instruction that says the question of the defendant's sanity or insanity has reference to her mental condition at the time of the alleged acts, the condition of the defendant's mind previous to the act charged, and since that time may be considered only to aid you in determining her sanity or insanity at the time of the acts charged.
And Your Honor, I'll take that out if defense counsel wants it out, or we can leave it in. if
Put
they
it
want
in or out?
If you got good case law, that's a good instruction. I think we should keep it in.
I'm fine with it in, I think.
Okay. Just wanted, I think it's a correct legal state or correct statement of the law. So, okay. So take care of those. Then, I want the attorneys here on Friday morning, 8:30. 830. Just making sure. So 8:30, and then we can talk about the jury instructions, and we should be in a position that maybe what can happen is rest instruction. And I will take a break before we start into the closings, because I think it's only fair that the jury consider it that way. So, okay.
Judge, the only final thing, those documents from Dr. Lewis, I'm fine with just uploading them. We've had, I don't know how you want them to be uploaded, if you want them to be suppressed or somehow protected, but we've had that issue in the past.
They're covered by CJD. I think it's 0905 or 0509. There's a Chief Justice directive that has to deal with that, and then there are internal regulations, because I'm assuming that it has to do with mental health. It should be uploaded as sealed.
So that's been the problem in the past, that when we've done that, then somebody has then unsealed them
Okay.
and then they've gotten out. So that's why we've asked in the past for maybe the court to upload.
The easiest way to do, upload it, suppress it, let us know when you've uploaded it.
Okay.
Then we will change the status from suppressed to sealed, and and nobody else should be able to change it except us.
Okay.
That may be the difference, is that if the attorney's uploaded as sealed, maybe somebody else can change it.
I
But
think that's right. Yeah.
if you upload it as suppressed, let us know it's there. We'll change it to sealed. Then it should be fine.
Okay.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you. Court will be in recess.
Judge, is anybody gonna do the court?